Shalom, and welcome to What the Watchman Sees, a ministry that will sift through all of the social media noise to show you news of importance from the Most High's perspective. As watchmen, we are here both to warn of dangers and give biblical answers for dwelling in the secret place of the Most High during these times of confusion. Tell your family and friends to like, share, and subscribe as we delve into what Yahweh has for us, the apple of His eye. Let's get to work. Shalom, everyone. We are going to move ahead in our Bible study. We're in the last couple of weeks of the third quarter of the study, this year-long study. Our theme is to build a righteous nation using the Most High's blueprint. And in doing so, we are to go back and fetch what the ancient ones knew and what they taught. The thing that guides our study, well, before I even get to that, what we have been talking about in this last quarter is preparation to leave Babylon. And so we're going to be doing a review of that thought that has been the focus of our study throughout this quarter. As always, we begin with 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15, which tells us to study to show ourselves approved unto the Most High, workmen who need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. And that in our study, we can do it with confidence based on 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16, which tells us that all scripture is God-breathed, and therefore it's profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for teaching, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the person of the Most High may be complete, thoroughly furnished unto every good work. So what we're going to be doing on this occasion is to do a review, the study that we have been engaged in for this past quarter, preparation to leave Babylon. This is just a quick review or overview of what we have been studying this past year since 2023 began. So in the first quarter, the first 3 months, January, February, and March, we looked at the gospel and what is it. We talked about finding our tribe, building with our tribe, and protecting our tribe, and how that ends up turning into, that process ends up turning into our marching orders or developing a national identity. In the second quarter, we looked more closely at what nations need, and it was obvious that nations must have leaders. There are no nations without leaders. I was just listening to a presentation that was operating under the assumption that the problem is Black people want leaders and nobody else wants leaders. I'm not sure how that person got to that understanding, but that is not biblical, it's not cultural, and as a matter of fact, it's not true. Every culture has leaders, and our people are no exception, or every culture is led by someone. There's someone who is either the spokesperson for the initiative of the group, or there's someone who is managing how the group is to operate. We're not ants. We are actually made in the Most High's image, and the Most High is the leader of the universe, if you will. So it is what it is. And so that's why it's important for us to know what leadership looks like so that we can choose our leaders wisely. So we utilized that second quarter delving into the qualities of a godly leader and how that manifests itself in the institutions that we build. So at the very last of that quarter, we talked about the fact that institution building is actually the building up of the people who comprise the group that have this national identity. And then this past quarter that we're still, well, not this quarter, actually, that we are in, we have been talking about preparing to leave Babylon, which means that we first of all must understand what Babylon is, where Babylon is, how Babylon operates, because as the scriptures have given us, the Most High has a place for his people, and it's not in Babylon. So we need to be preparing ourselves, not only as individuals, not only as families, but also as a nation, to leave this system of Babylon, which is in essence the system of the beast. Now, what we're going into this last quarter is setting the stage for the next group that is going to take the baton that our group has been running with. Hopefully we're running with patience. Hopefully we're running to win the race. But we're getting ready to hand off the baton. So what does that look like? So as we go into the last part of this calendar year, we're going to be spending October, November, and December talking about that process. But in the meantime, we're going to be doing a review on what we've talked about when it comes to Babylon. As we said at the outset of the quarter where we're talking about preparing to leave Babylon, Babylon began as a organized group of people under the leadership of this man named Nimrod. This is all in Genesis. And Nimrod is described as a person who was a mighty hunter before the Most High. But actually, when you look up the meaning of being a hunter before the Most High, Nimrod hunted people. Okay. Nimrod was a warrior. Nimrod's primary objective was to get people into a place where they could challenge the Most High God. And so in doing so, when the Most High told Noah and his family as they came off the ark to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth, Nimrod said, no, we're going to stay right here. Okay. So that was what this man, who was the leader of a group of people. Now, this took a while, obviously. This didn't happen the week after they got out of the boat. We're talking about a couple of generations. But in any case, it was Nimrod that brought these people together so that they could actually confront the Most High God. And so the place where they started doing all of that was in this territory of Shinar, but the specific place was Babylon. That was a city then, okay? So it started out as a city, and if you remember the story, they, in that city, were building a tower or a ziggurat that would reach the heavens, And that would be their way of saying, here's who we are. And we are now challenging the Most High. So the Most High came down and stopped that foolishness by confusing the languages of the people and then scattering the people. So that was his will being carried out, even though the people didn't want to scatter. Okay. Well, once they scattered, that concept of a city state, if you will, became more appealing to those people. And Babylon as a city ended up being Babylon as a country. But the foundation of Babylon was a mind. And the mind was a mind of absolute rebellion to the Most High God. So that spirit of Babylon is in existence today. And that spirit of Babylon is that which is ruling the nations today. I can remember maybe 10 years ago now when some people in the evangelical community, when I can't remember exactly how long ago it was, whenever this country had decided that they were going to invade Iraq. Okay. So whenever the country does that, whenever the business community says, okay, we need to take somebody's stuff, they obviously then send in people who can take it, but then they also use the religious community to provide a biblical foundation for what they did. So at that point in time, Babylon was then called Iraq because the city of Babylon was in the territory that's called Iraq. And it was actually used as, see, here's an example of the end time prophecies coming to fruition. Babylon is getting ready to fall. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. You get the point. But they missed the point because Babylon in Revelation is not only a city. Babylon is a system. And it's that system that we are under now. So what the Most High told his people is we have to come out of Babylon. So as we continue with looking at Babylon, we already talked about how many times it's mentioned in Scripture, 286 times. And we talked again about how the kingdom of Babylon, or Babel, is found in Genesis chapter 10, and how what had happened in Babylon was in Genesis chapter 11. But Babylon is also used by the Most High to bring judgment on his people, and that's what Second Kings and Second Chronicles is all about. And then we also looked at Babylon all the way in the last book, which is what we have been talking about. And that's how we got to the theme for this quarter, preparing to leave Babylon. That's in response to Revelation 14:8, which said that Babylon is fallen, and how that all the nations had drunk of the wine of Babylon, the wine of her fornication, which brings wrath upon them as well as on Babylon. And we saw in Revelation chapter 17, verse 5, that the harlot riding on top of the beast, the harlot's name is Mystery Babylon. And that's how we get to the understanding the mystery of Babylon is that it's more than a city. That's the mystery. We're living in a day and time where that mystery has now been revealed. And so it's Mystery Babylon, the great, the mother of harlots, and abominations of the earth, which means that everything that is against the Most High is encapsulated in and typified by this mystery Babylon. And it's mystery Babylon that the Most High's people are being told to come out of. So some of us think that the country that we're living in is Babylon, and there's some truth in that, but it's not Babylon exclusively. It's a part of the Babylonian system, and that system is a system that is in absolute rebellion to the will of the Most High. So this country is a part of that. Revelation chapter 18, verse 10 talks about when this great city falls and what that's going to look like. And also Revelation chapter 18, verse 21 talks about the vision that just like when the angel threw a great millstone into the sea and said, that's the same thing that's going to happen to that great city, Babylon. It's going to be thrown down and there won't be anything left of it. So that's what is on the horizon. And that's why the Most High's people are told to come out of Babylon. It's the same thing that went on when Lot's wife looked back in longing to Sodom and Gomorrah. She wanted to be in Sodom and Gomorrah, even though it was being destroyed. And because of that, she was destroyed. So that's why the Most High is telling his people, don't be like Lot's wife. The Babylonian system is the system that is controlling the planet as we speak. So whoever is in control of the planet, that's the Babylonian system. Just to mention, in this nation has over 85 military bases throughout the entire globe. No one has as many military outposts as this nation. This nation is much like England used to be in the England Empire. And before that, Spain used to be in the Spanish Empire. And before that, Rome used to be in the Roman Empire. And before that, Assyria used to be in the Assyrian Empire. And before that, Babylon used to be in the Babylonian Empire. It's the same mystery Babylon, different names, same spirit. And that's why when Yeshua went into the desert being tempted of the Hasatan, and Hasatan took Yeshua up into a high mountain and said, look at all this world. Which one do you want? I'll give it to you because it belongs to me. All you have to do is bow down to me. That spirit is still here. That is mystery Babylon. So anybody that's controlling anything on the planet right now is underneath Satan. That mystery Babylon, that mystery Babylonian system is the system that the Most High in this age is saying, I'm coming and I'm going to set things aright. So if you're living in that system, when I destroy the system, you get destroyed also. If you're identifying with that system, what does that system look like? We already know what that system looks like. It operates by power. It operates by might. It operates by deception. It operates by religion. All of the ways of manipulating and controlling souls is how this world operates, and it's all satanic. So the Most High's people are being told, now is the time to come out of that because I'm going to destroy it all. the things that you think are going to last forever, they're about to fall. So unless you want them to fall on you, you need to leave Babylon. Okay. So and that's where we talked about what Mystery Babylon's fate was going to be. Okay. So those things that I just talked about. So I'm just going to keep going. So when that happens, the scriptures say in verse 20, rejoice over her, heaven, and you holy apostles and prophets, for Elohim has avenged you on her. Babylon is coming against the Most High's people. So when you feel, or not even feel, when you experience the heaviness that's on you, when you experience not being able to pay your way through this life because the Babylonian system has made it virtually impossible for you to have the money that you need to pay your rent or your mortgage, when it's made it virtually impossible for you to get quality health care because of people who don't even work in the health industry are the ones deciding what you can have as far as health services and what you can't have. All of that is about putting the society in bondage, keeping the society in bondage. That's what Babylon does. It makes life miserable. And that's how we know it's of the devil. That's how we know it's of Satan. So verse 21 says, a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And the voice of harpers and musicians, pipers, trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in you. No craftsman shall be found in you. The sound of the millstone shall not be heard. Basically, the everything that the affluent and those who are ruling, all those things that are at their disposal, and all the people who are working for them, all that is going to be wiped away. All right. Because in the process of developing all this insane wealth that is concentrated in a handful of people, that wealth was taken from the larger group. And that's what it means, by force in many cases, and with blood being shed. Please understand that. Okay. And that's why it says in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints. Saints are holy ones, and of all that were slain upon the earth. Okay. So that's Mystery Babylon. Now, as we continued through that quarter, we also saw that the beginning of Babylon was actually before Babylon was called Babel. The beginning of Babylon started in the garden. Babylon, Mystery Babylon, is the serpent. It's the serpent that was going to bruise the heel of the seed of the woman, and the seed of the woman was going to bruise the head of the serpent. That's the time that we're in now. So when the destruction of Babylon is the bruising of the head of the serpent. Okay. So the serpent always starts with tricking people into doing that which the Most High does not want done. But in order to maintain control and dominion, the serpent not only uses trickery, but the serpent uses brute force, threats of violence, actual violence, creating scenarios where people cannot get out of them, and while still using that spirit of trickery. And that's where we talked about how Babylon is depicted as the matrix. The matrix is the womb. So in other words, what Mystery Babylon is about is the birthing of evil. And the just like when the Most High said, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Well, that's what the matrix does, but it is, the fruitfulness is in the form of this matrix. In other words, instead of blessing the earth and those who are to walk on the earth, the matrix is sucking the life and the life force out of those who keep the matrix going. So that's what makes the matrix work. Our misery makes the matrix work. And the sad thing is the matrix tricks us into thinking we're one place when we're actually another place. We're actually the battery, as the movie says, we're actually the battery for the system that's working. The system doesn't work for us. We work for the system. That's Mystery Babylon. And that's what's going to be destroyed, because the earth belongs to the Most High and the fullness of the earth belongs to the Most High. And he gave that to us, his people. But we're not in any shape right now to inherit that. So we have to come out of Babylon first so that our minds can get right. And then, as the scripture says, a person thinks in his heart, so is he. Once our thinking is correct, then we can move into the destiny that the Most High has for us. So we talked about, again, how all of that works itself, that snake, that serpent works itself throughout the ages, beginning in Genesis 3, Genesis 10, Genesis 11, 2 Kings 20, all the way through to Revelation 18. It's the same serpent. And that serpent is called by different names. And one of those names is Mystery Babylon. Even as we're in Babylon, the Most High has given us the ability to carve out a place of safety for us, his people. We are moving into the second Exodus. And just as it was with the first Exodus, when the Most High told the people to get ready to leave, they all lived in the same place. Now, I'm not talking about a physical location in what I'm about to say, but I'm talking about they all had a vehicle for gathering. Okay. Goshen was that vehicle for gathering when our ancestors were living in Egypt. And although they were underneath severe suppression and oppression, they all lived together. So when it was time to move, they all were in the same place at the same time. I know some people aren't going to want to hear this, but the Goshen for the Most High's people today, as ratchet as some of the locations of Goshen are, it's what we call the church. The Most High's word is still there. We are not operating in it, but that's where his word is. Okay. So as we begin to gather, what is in his word is what will bring us together. What's in his word? Well, let me say it this way. In each one of those physical structures, somewhere you will find a Bible. Most of the time, you will find a number of Bibles. In those Bibles is the word of the Most High. And so when the people come together in the word of the Most High, that's the gathering of the Most High's people. And so once the Most High's people are gathered, then we can come out. We're trying to do things as individuals. And that's why we keep getting defeated. We're playing it's actually, we're not playing anything. The war that we are in is being waged on a macro level, and the micro can't defeat the macro. Another way of saying that is like, say, for instance, in using politics. Politics is a team sport. Our people have been trying to play politics as individuals, and we're getting our clocks cleaned because other people who are playing politics know that they are a part of a team. Satan is very organized. Right now, the Most High's people are not. But the potential is there. It's in the word. And so if we focus on the word, it's going to be the word that will bring us together as a team, and it'll be the team that leaves. Now, we haven't talked a lot about this, but when you read scripture and you see how the Most High worked with his people, starting with Abraham, also Isaac, Jacob, the 12 tribes, the nation itself, the Most High told Abraham something. He said, those who bless you, I will bless. Those who curse you, I will curse. That was a covenant promise. So when you look through history, we can, and using scripture, we can see that the people who blessed Abraham got blessed. The people who cursed Abraham or were about to curse Abraham got cursed. When the children of Yasharel or Israel were in Egypt, Egypt prospered. Egypt was the thing. When the children of Yasharel left, Egypt never recovered from that. The same thing happened in Babylon. The same thing happens wherever the Most High's people go. And I know this is controversial with some of you, but I'm going to say it anyway. Some of Israel went to the Congo. Some of Israel went to North Africa. Some of Israel went to South Africa. Some of Israel went to West Africa. And some of Israel went up into Europe and into India. All of those different regions, if you look at where Israel was and how Israel was mistreated in those places, the people who mistreated them, their societies crumbled. So all those places that I named that evil entreated Israel, they did not prosper anymore. While Israel was there, they did prosper. The United States of America, while Israel is here, this country was built off the sweat, the blood, the innovation, the creativity of Yasharel, the people that y'all call Black people. That which is happening to that group of people now is going to get worse. And the worse it gets, the harder this country is going to fall. And it's not just this country. You can go down into the Caribbean. You can go to Brazil, wherever the Most Highest people are, and we're scattered in what we call the transatlantic slave trade, or even the trans-Saharan slave trade. Those nations that came against the Most Highest people will and have suffered. And once the Most High's people are drawn out of there, they crumble. So we'll continue with this review, for Father willing, for one more week. And as you can see, we've covered a lot of territory. There's still a lot we can say. The main thing is that the Most High is getting ready to do what he already told us he was going to do. Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, will bruise the head of the serpent. The serpent is not a literal snake. The serpent is a system of rulership over the planet. And I have to continue to say, whoever's ruling the planet now is a part of that system. That which is to come has not yet come. So we give thanks to the Father for giving us that message. Father, bless you and keep you. Father, make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. Father, lift up his countenance